What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome in the CHGO Bulls Podcast, coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck, Big Day, BAL, BAWL Sports, Avery Johnson. Will Gottlieb, Will_Gottlieb, our proud producer on the controls, Joey Spathis, at Joey Spathis. Apologies for the minor delay, we are off and running. Just recorded a CHGO Die-Hard Discord mailbag, all draft-centric questions that'll drop tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, we got a live show for y'all today. Talking, what else? The 2024 NBA Draft. GOAT released a mock draft day before yesterday? Yesterday. There you go. We're going to talk about that, who the Bulls end up with in GOAT's mock, and maybe some of the pieces before 11 and what might happen there. But real quick first, just a reminder that it is a Sunnyside Thursday. God, I love Sunnyside Summer Thursdays. Head to sunnyside.shop or use the nearest Sunnyside cannabis dispensary location near you. Promo code HICHGO will get you 35% off your first order. Bright Buys every day, only for 21 and over and Illinois medical card holders. Also, quick plug, we have our live draft show coming up on Wednesday, June 26th, less than 2 weeks away at PB&J, awesome bar in the West Loop here in Chicago. 7 p.m., start time for the draft. We will go live from PB&J, watching the draft unfold with all of you, our fellow Bulls fans. Free event to get in. Coors Light, our presenting sponsor, is going to be running great drink deals all night. There's going to be some giveaways, Bulls stuff, CHGO swag. All you got to do is show up. If you want to, there is an event site on our allchgo.com website where you can RSVP and let us know that you're coming. We would love to see you there. Bring the friends, bring the family.
That's right.
Let's see what the heck the Bulls are going to do together.
Drink some Coors Light.
Drink some Coors Light. Hello.
Filtered. Joey, you be there?
Wait, for the draft party?
Yeah.
I'm guessing he's going to be producing our show.
I just need you to say yes to confirm to the people that the people's producer will be with the people.
I will be there, the people's producer.
There you go.
Gotta live up to the namesake.
That's right. He'll be there. And he won't be square.
Can't wait.
And he'll be hooking them.
Joey's like the remote producer extraordinaire.
That's it,
He's going to be out there at almost home after the Cubs game tomorrow afternoon.
Yo, man, he's going to do it special, too.
I kind of want to just show up and just bug Joey while he's producing their show.
Ooh, do I have something to... Oh, damn, I have something to do.
I would love for you to show up and hang out.
I have something to do. Damn.
I don't know if I want to be in the bleachers tomorrow afternoon because I'm going to the Cubs game on Saturday. So I feel like back-to-back Cubs games would be, well, delightfully fun. But
yeah. Is there a sport you would do back-to-back of? Like football, basketball, baseball? Like you would go back-to-back?
When the Bulls don't suck, I would happily go to 2 consecutive home Bulls games in a row.
Okay.
And
I would do it if that makes sense.
I feel like Bears games, too, because you get a week in between. I feel like what turns me off about going to games is like, especially at Soldier, when you are leaving and everybody's also leaving.
Yeah.
And it just takes 10 years to get out of that building. It makes me so annoyed. But if you have a week to break it up, it's like a little bit more, you know.
Yeah.
You got to hang out a little bit after the game, man.
I'm trying to get right out of there.
I'm not here to talk to you.
I'm trying to get right out of there.
All right. Joey's the people producer. Will is not. Going home.
Before we dive into some draft talk, I did want to at least just touch on, we haven't talked a lot about it because we've had so many other fun draft things to talk about and trade rumors and all that jazz. NBA Finals that are currently underway. Celtics took a commanding 3-0 lead over the Dallas Mavericks in Game 3 last night. 106-99 was the final, and it's crazy because it looked like the Celtics were on their way to another rout. Mavs make a furious comeback in the fourth. Celtics were up 21 early in the fourth quarter. 21. Mavs got it down to 2 points, and then I think at one point even down to a 1 point deficit from 21. Luka key foul with just over 4 minutes to go, fouls out of the game.
Yeah.
Throws a little Luka conniption fit.
He did.
It was 93-90 Boston when Luka fouls out with 4 minutes and change to go. Boston gets more buckets than Dallas does down the stretch. Shout out to Derek White. He had himself a couple of big buckets. Also, some clutch free throws down the stretch.
Yeah.
Tatum and Brown also chipped in some key buckets. And bam, Dallas is on the brink.
They're on the brink. I mean, let me do this first because it's easy to lay into Dallas and what they did wrong on this. But I'm going to give credit to Boston and what they're doing right. Because you're right. That game, Matt, I just said, oh, man, they're going to blow this lead. They're going to come back. They're going to do it in 5. But you could kind of see that fire in Boston like, oh, hell no. We're not doing it. We have never been this close to finally getting a championship after all these years of punching that wall and not being able to break it down. We are this close. Their defense intensified. Their clutch shooting really got better, and it didn't come from just one guy because that's kind of how their MO has been, which has been great to see this playoffs. It's been all of them, whether it was Pritchard making a stop or whether it was a three-point from the corner from Al Horford, whether it was Jaylen Brown or Tatum breaking them down and just getting to the bucket like that, or like you mentioned, Derek Wright and Drew Holiday and just how he's playing. Xavier Tillman came in and he was awesome. Like
Big 3.
Yeah, man. Like they are doing it as a team and they refuse to lose. And you got to give them love and credit for that.
Yeah, especially when like everybody knows, and we've talked about before, that like the Celtics play with their food and fumble the bag late in games. And they were on track to do just that. But then Luka fouled out. And I want to talk about the Luka thing for a second because when I was watching it, I was just like, that's the finals right there.
Yeah.
Like, how can you call that? But I think...
You mean that 6th foul?
The 6th foul.
Yeah.
The 5th one I thought was more sketchy. That was the one where he was guarding Jaylen Brown in the post, and Jaylen kind of had him hooked. And it probably should have been a no call.
Yeah.
I could have seen it like them overturning it in a challenge, but like maybe not likely. And then like you got 4.5 minutes left. You're down 3, and it's like, Jason Kidd, you got to keep your best player on the court because otherwise you're going to lose the game, and you've got to trust him not to pick up his 6th foul. And he does it immediately, like 2 possessions later, trying to draw a charge in transition.
Crazy.
And at first I was like, Luka, like. I mean, how can you call that on Luka Doncic?
Yeah.
It's Luka Doncic, and it's the game. Like this is the last couple minutes of Game 3 of the finals. If the Mavericks win, we got a series.
Yeah.
If the Celtics win, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, how can you call that? And then I was just like, no, like Luka, how could you put yourself in that position?
Yeah.
How could you not just you never play defense. Just let him go by.
Well, and see,
that's your specialty.
That's what you do.
So, but shout out to our pal John Sabine, who's having a tough time with his Mavs down 0-3.
Shout out.
He was, texting on our thread with him and Bulldog earlier today, saying like, because he said, citing Luka's stat line so far through 3 games, like this is not on Luka, and Luka's getting a lot of blame from all directions. Brian Windhorst went scorched earth on his hit with SVP last night after the game. Holy Christ,
flamed him.
But I said to John, well, it's not all on Luka, but some parts of the problems are Luka related. Like he's playing no defense and he fouled out in the final minutes of a very close, winnable game.
Yeah.
John's countered to me saying, dude, you can't foul out with 4 minutes left. He said it was a no-win situation for Luka because if he lets him just go by instead of trying to play defense there, he's going to get grilled from the other side from all these people who've been saying all series long the Celtics are attacking Luka and his weak-ass defense. Well, so if it's a blow-by, it's another blow-by to add to the tape that everybody's already grilling Luka for.
That's fine.
It's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I don't see it like that at all. One, I do agree with Will because I don't even think it should have been called. That's my feeling. I've always felt that way. You don't call that on the stars. You give them a little benefit, even if it's a no call.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like that.
Is the fact that it's Luka a game changer though? Because NBA refs are sick of listening to him bitch all the time.
And that's where I was going.
Okay.
It's exactly where I was going. Like, yes, that's where I felt. Like, you don't make those calls. You let the stars be out there. You let them play. But I completely understand why they called him because they literally had to talk. Like, dude, you got to chill the hell out on this, man. Please stop it.
Woosah.
One ear
Woosah.
and out the other. You know what I mean? It's kind of what it went. And they were like, why? Well, fine. If he's saying screw me, well, then screw you. That's exactly what that was. And I don't think they called that like in a different kind of circumstance. But I never like seeing the Stars get those calls in the fifth out in the finals when they're making that kind of comeback. That's just devastating. But yeah, he put himself in that position. That's just kind of what it is, man. But it's so much to go around. Like, you know how I say, Will, like, it's never one singular thing when you lose. It's something everybody gets a piece when you lose out there. Tim Hardaway Jr. is the worst. And I was telling people, don't play him. You saw me. I was screaming before the playoffs started, don't play this dude. Don't play him, dog, at all. He has not scored a point since May 18th. I want you to drink that in.
It's June 13th for the record.
Trash.
It's almost a month.
And like
Trash.
he's in because he's supposed to give you offense.
Yes.
Like they removed Derrick Jones Jr. from the game so that they could get their offensive specialist
Yes.
in, and he's not giving you anything.
And
then
he
he's
sucks
also
on
giving you
nothing.
just minus all over the defense.
Nothing on both sides. Nothing. Jason Kidd calling a timeout when they went on a 20-2 run. No, I didn't agree with that either. What are you doing out there? That's not what you're supposed to do. But Luka, man, it is your team. You are the star. You are the guy. If you're going to get the praise, well, then you got to get the hate too. And I've said that about all star players. Is it fair? No. But that's what it is. It's
Comes
the
with
same
the territory.
thing. It's the same thing with Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And I was saying the same shit then. Like, dude, he's defensive. That's just what comes with it. Like, you're going to have to take the brunt of it on both sides, whether it's all the love or all the hate, because you're the guy. Luka's the guy, and he has been ass on defense. And I mean pure hot ass on defense, dog. When the game started, I'm watching it, and I'm like, man, Luka looks bad out here.
Yeah.
And I immediately got a text from one of my basketball friends like, dude, what the hell is Luka doing? And I thought, oh, cool, and it's not just me. I'm seeing this too like this. It wasn't good defensively, Matt. Like, he has been poor. Like, and I mean to the point that it's a burden.
Yeah.
But you got to have him out there. And then you talked about the offense in the finals in the first three quarters, because I wrote it. In the first three quarters, he has 81 points and shooting 54% from the field.
Pretty good.
In the fourth quarter, 8 points, 20%.
Less good.
Luka is known to be the clutch guy.
Yeah.
He's known to be that guy. That's
Yeah.
when he's supposed to shine, do his thing like that. He ain't been doing it. So, yes, you get that piece too, dog. Like you said, not the problem, because I think everybody gets a piece.
Yeah.
But damn sure a part of it, man. He's been ass.
And yet he was +9, the
Yes.
only Maverick in the positive who played more. I guess Lively was too, but just like you need him in there because it's not just that he's like your scorer. He's everything.
Yes.
Everything
All of it.
depends on Luka on the offensive end. And so like this isn't like a Jabari Parker, they don't play players to play defense kind of situation.
Right, correct.
Because like he's legitimately doing everything. I mean, Jabari's just like out here shooting.
Like,
Scoring. No.
Rebounding.
Luka's a terrible defender, has been for a very long time. He's okay in the post. He can get some deflections here and there, but like they are just going at him. And I think that's part of the problem for this Dallas team. It's like they just aren't.
Yeah.
And it speaks to how just brilliantly constructed the Celtics roster is. I mean, Drew Holiday's their 5th best player.
Yeah, right.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about? I mean,
That's crazy.
they're the perfect basketball team. You have 2 elite shot creating 2-way wings. You have 2 elite 3-and-D point guards who can also get you a bucket. You've got a stretch 5 that can protect the rim and shoot threes better than anybody else. Yeah. You've got versatility. You've got shooters off the bench. I mean, Joe Mazzulla gets a lot of crap. I think he's done an excellent job in terms of committing to a certain style of play. And even if it comes off weird, even if it's like not traditional on the way that you want it, like they play to their style, they play to their math, and it has worked, and it's going to work all the way to a championship.
Math. I love that, Will.
Fish saying Missoula, a totally different coach this year. Lars in the comments saying Luka Doncic is following Irk's legacy. You notice what he did there?
Well done.
Removing the D.
I see what you're doing there.
Rob C saying Luka's got to stop crying all the time. Play actual defense. Stop crapping on the refs.
That's the other thing. He literally removes himself from the defensive possession before it happens because he's complaining about not giving a fall. And like
it's 5-4 often. Yeah.
I love Luka. Everybody knows, but like he's killing them. But he's also everything about them.
Right.
It's the whole reason he's there.
He's killing them. And for those saying like, oh, Luka's been crap. So through the first 3 games, Doncic's stat line is 29.7 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, 2.3 steals, 47.3% from the field, 32.1% from 3.
Yes.
So like if you're going to nitpick anything there, it's like, well, Luka usually has 8 or 9 assists per game instead of 6.
Those 3-point
and
shooting's a little
32% behind the arc. Like, come on, Luka, you can do better than that.
Exactly.
But it's still like, dude, he's averaging freaking 39 and 6.
He is balling out offensively because he always does. Like Will said, he do everything.
But
defensively,
defensively, yikes, and then offensively.
Did you see those blow-by numbers?
Dude.
Oh, my God. Terrible. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the fourth quarter offensive splits that you brought up. Like, okay, 47.5%, 32%.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
Not at all.
Fourth quarter? 20%?
Yeah, and I don't want to hear nothing about tired, and I don't want to hear nothing about none of that shit, man. Because again, when I hear these complaints, I think of guys like LeBron immediately. Like, I'm like, nah, bro, y'all did not give him that grace. You know what I'm saying? And you shouldn't give him that grace, because if you're that guy, this is what comes with that territory. Don't give me that stuff about him being tired or injured, because guess what? He was tired and injured last series. He was tired and injured the series before that, but he was busting their ass in that fourth quarter because he is that dude. He just hasn't been that dude in the fourth quarter, but especially defensively. He has been such a liability defensively.
I do think that obviously, like, the finals matter, right? Like, This is legacy time. This is when you get remembered, and this is when your reputation changes. But, like, we did the same thing with Jason Tatum 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We've been doing it throughout the whole playoffs. Like, I don't think the Mavericks are going to win the series. Obviously, they're down 3-0. It would be the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
But this is, I mean, Luka's 24 years old. Like,
Yes.
he is already an all-time great player. He's on pace to become one of the great players of all time.
Yeah.
And he will be back. He does need more help. He needs to be better himself. But I think oftentimes with guys like LeBron, with Tatum, before they win, we over-scrutinize them because they haven't done it yet. Mm-hmm. But then once they do it, it's like, oh, yeah, we knew he had this greatness in him all along.
Right.
And I feel like I want to just make sure that we still remember that with Luka, because it's
course.
going to happen. He's going to be an MVP. He's going to be a champion at some point. We should have done this with Tatum, like, hand up for that. But, like, I just think in the grand scheme of things, this is a huge moment for him to get better from, and he absolutely has to get better from it.
Yeah, it's not a debate about his greatness. You know what I mean? It's not arguing about that. It's just what we're seeing right here in his finals. He has been great defensively.
Well, we got to take our first break, but real quick, I get a lot of amusement out of the fact that it is so apparent that everyone who isn't a Boston sports fan hates Boston and hates even talking about Boston, unless it's, man, Celtics are probably going to find a way to choke this.
Yeah.
Had a cakewalk through the Eastern Conference playoffs.
They did.
Some people surprised they didn't choke. I was surprised they didn't choke at any point against any of those cupcake matchups in the East. Yeah. We got to the final. I was like, they could totally lose to this Dallas team.
Yeah.
They could do it.
Yeah.
Doing the classic Celtics dick around thing. And this entire time, they've had to listen to this. Those Celtics players have had to listen to this from everyone outside of Boston being like, they'll choke. They'll choke. They'll choke.
The Jays.
I mean, I hate to do it, and I still won't do it. If I were a better person, I would give Boston credit for the way that they have risen above all of that.
Way to know yourself.
But I mean, they can still screw off and die a horrible death.
Yes,
but it is funny how that has been the narrative the whole time, and now we are in the finals. They are up 3-0. And Luka is the narrative. It's not the Celtics.
It's not the Celtics.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. That's how it goes. We love to build people up just to tear them down.
Mm-hmm. It's a time-honored tradition.
A tale as old as time.
MJ's trip to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to dive into the GOAT's 24 NBA mock draft. Throw a like on that YouTube channel while we are reading you these words from our friends and sponsors, which include Prize Picks.
Let's go.
We might only have one more chance to get some Prize Picks lineups in on NBA basketball until October.
That's it?
And if the Celtics sweep. But you definitely have one more chance in Game 4, so don't miss out. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you're watching these NBA finals. All you have to do is pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 different player stat projections for your shot at up to 100 times your cash investment. Yeah. Whether you feel good about Drew Holiday having a big closeout 4 game, or maybe Al Horford, or you think Luka is going to say, defense be damned, I'm going off in Game 4. I will not lose.
Go off, Luka.
Maybe you're thinking, hey, Luka more than is looking pretty good. Whatever it is, however you're feeling Game 4 is going to go, get your lineup set at Prize Picks, including some of these star players who have additional bonuses in those payouts, and enjoy yourself watching hoops and winning big. Download that Prize Picks app today. Use promo code CHGO for a first-time deposit match up to $100. That's code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Easy as dribbling around Luka Doncic.
Oh, man.
Sorry, Luka.
Oh, man.
Sorry, say mine.
Oh, man. Baby Joey just said that's harsh. Baby Joey says harsh.
Oh, what does Baby Joey know about not being harsh?
What's up? Are we yelling at babies now? What are we doing?
I'm just saying.
We got to do that.
Baby Joey talks shit, man.
All the time.
Yeah.
He enjoys talking shit, but that don't mean he can take it. Because he's a baby and he never understood, man. He don't get it. Why? That's how he sounds. Why? Those glasses.
I like a baby. Why? I like it.
Got it? Like that? Yeah.
got you.
Yeah. I do stuff. Why them glasses so expensive? I don't know. Goat don't know either. But he look cool in them. And you can too. Because it's Shady Rays. Get ready for that season ahead with quality shades that are built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with those premium polarized shades that will not, I repeat, will not break the bank. Independent sunglasses company offering that world-class product rated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and those crystal clear optics, making them perfect choices for your outdoor and indoor adventures. Go tell me it's a word. They have hundreds of options to choose from, y'all, so you're bound to find the perfect fit and the perfect pair to match your style. But also, hey, let's say them glasses break. Why? Because you're angry. Hat toss. Beautiful. Hit the wall. Brilliant.
Upper 90.
I love that. That was amazing.
Duh.
No glasses on that hat. Oh, splat, crack is what they go. But you take them, put them in an envelope, put them back in, send them to Shady Rays. Guess what you're going to get? Brand new pair back on your face. Oh, it's awesome. It's amazing. And if you don't love your shades, you can exchange them for a new pair or worry-free return within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop, y'all. Their team always has your back. And I mean, always. Exclusive for the listeners out there, Shady Rays giving away their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use that code CHGO. Get yourself 35% off of those premium polarized shades. Try for yourself. Oh, yes, the shades that are rated 5 stars for over 300,000 people because it's Shady Rays, y'all, with them rays. I just, so shady. God.
I sometimes hate how cool you look. I mean, I'm just saying, you look cool when you don't have shades on. Then you put shades on, and it's like a Super Saiyan explosion of cool. It's just hard to sit next to you sometimes, buddy.
I love you too, Matt.
What up?
It's so awesome. I hate it.
Our friend Charlie the Bacon Guy hanging out in the comments. Hello, boys. Hello to you, Charlie. Lars saying, where's some Shady Rays so you can go to the Cubs game after you go to Sunnyside without anyone knowing?
Ooh.
Smart.
Way to be thinking forward.
Rob, meanwhile, saying he only wears his sunglasses
That's
at
a
night.
diehard right there.
That's a diehard.
Yeah, that's a diehard.
That's right.
That is a diehard right there.
correct. Yeah.
Fish, meanwhile, saying the Shady Rays commercials they played during the Western Conference Finals don't hold a candle to you guys. Thank you, sir.
I have seen them, yeah. Yeah.
There's no Baby Joey
There is no Baby Joe.
in the actual like television
Or
commercials.
is it?
Oh, shit.
He exists everywhere but nowhere. That's how he rolls, baby. That's how he rolls. But he's sensitive.
Sensitive.
Joey knows this.
This is true.
Joey, right now, can you name 4 Saved by the Bell characters? 3.
He,
I don't think I can name
gave
one.
you one.
You can't name one? For real, yeah.
We were
Travis.
talking about Mr. Belding during our diehard mailbag just now.
He said Travis.
Travis. No one in the 90s was named Travis except for a drummer for Blink-182. He's the only Travis.
Let me tell Matt I beg to differ. Tons of people with this right here named Travis in that decade. Just let them know. But
Travis Best played for the Indiana Pacers.
Oh, shout out. Good call. Good call. Joey, Zach Morris. You never heard of Zach Morris?
Yeah, that sounds familiar, but
Screech.
Screech?
R.I.P.
Those are
Slater?
the 2 I could have gotten. Oh, Slater I could get.
Yeah. Lisa Turtle?
Lisa Turtle.
Kelly,
Kelly?
right?
Yeah, Kelly Capaldi.
Kelly.
Come on, go.
I'm redeeming myself for the
house
A-team
team.
the other day. I was getting some shit talk from that in the
Oh, were you?
in the CHGO Discord.
Oh, for real?
diehards only.
They shouldn't do. We called you Bradley Cooper. You're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
You
He
win.
came out of that looking just fine.
You feel me? Hate to tell you. I'm coughing them.
That's right, Anthony. I am wearing Florida Gators colors today. Not by choice. This is just a dope CHGO Wrigley shirt. I know you keep wanting me to say something nice about the state of Florida. Keep tuning in. Maybe you'll get there someday. Everything Bulls said. Let's dive into the Goats mock draft board, shall we?
Splash.
Yes, let's.
Okay.
Okay. So Goat, I also, if you want to like pull this up, Joey, so we can kind of look through it and talk through it. your big board that you have on your draft database for those diehards has Alex R number 1, and in your mock draft, he goes number 1 to the Atlanta Hawks. Is this a don't mess around, even though it's not the Wemby no-brainer of last year? This is still the most talented and high upside guy in this class, and Atlanta's just going to take him because of those reasons?
Yeah, I am foreseeing us talking about this on tomorrow's show, but we love Alex R in his ability to defend. I think that is really what makes him a special player. He's super mobile, super athletic, super long, measured just under 7 feet, with a 4 wingspan. Am I just making this up off the top of my head? No, 7'4" and a quarter.
7'4" and a quarter.
37-inch vertical. So he moves like a wing, but he is the size of a center. His offensive game is a work in progress. I don't think he's somebody who's going to go out and give you 20 points, but he can catch some lobs. He can face up a little bit. He can grab and go in transition, and he can turn defense into offense. So I think, his defense makes him a very high floor player. I think you also have some upside there offensively. But to me, there aren't a lot of guys in this draft who I think will make a massive impact on either side of the ball right away. And to me, Sar has the potential to do that on the defensive end. And then if some things hit, he does have a 3-point shot, just under 30% shooting from deep last year in Perth. So not great, but I think it's an area where you can feel confident he'll get better. I think if you're the Atlanta Hawks with this first overall pick, you just want to take the guy with the most upside who can also help you out. He fits really well with Trae Young as a lob threat, as a defensive anchor. He allows you to move on from Capella and kind of go to this Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu, and Alex Sarr trio of bigs, which I think can be really strong. So I really like him. He'd be the pick if the Bulls were number 1. He'd be the guy that I would want. I'm not saying he's like Wembanyama. I don't think he's anywhere close to that as a prospect, but I do think his defensive floor and offensive upside make him a pretty safe bet to be in the top 2, and for me, he'd be number 1.
I'm interested. Your top, do you feel, because we feel like this is a draft where things can change, nobody's safe kind of thing, but do you feel kind of okay with your top 3 going into these next 2 weeks? Do you foresee it changing at all?
Maybe. I think so. For me, I had Topic at number 2 until we learned about his ACL. That had me move him down just a little bit to 3 on my big board, but he did drop dramatically in my mock draft, which was a predictive thing. Where do I think guys will go? Who do I think teams will pick? So I expect him to fall a little bit into the 8 to 10 range. Wow. But really, it was to me, I had these 2 guys up top, and then there was a second tier from 3 to 8 or 9 where I felt okay about some of those guys, but just no kind of clear order in terms of who goes where. So I think a lot is still going to change in these next 2 weeks. And I'm just really excited to see how these late workouts change. There's always, 2 years ago, we thought it was going to be Jabari Smith going number 1 until the day of the draft. Then we thought maybe Chet, and then it was Paolo. So there's so much change, I think, in the draft where it's not Wembanyama or it's not a Zion. And I think that this is going to be a draft where a lot is going to change, even though there's no new film to analyze. It's just who's feeling who, where do we see this guy fitting best? Would a team trade up? I think that's going to be something that could potentially shake things up as well. So a lot of movement and motion, I think, still to come.
So compared to your big board on your draft database, where and we've talked about Nikola Topic fairly recently as somebody who might actually fall in the Bulls' lap at 11 because of his injury he suffered during his playoffs overseas. And then we got the update after that about how they actually found a slight ACL tear and wondering how much further he'll fall. So we'll see where he does end up falling in your mock go. But so he is not there. Let's talk about this sort of 2 through 5 range after Sarr at 1, where you have in this order, Wizards taking Ron Holland, Rockets going Reed Shepherd, Spurs going Zachary Riza-Shea, and a name that we've also talked a lot about potentially connected to the Bulls, Pistons taking Buzelis at 5. Which one of those 2, 3, 4, 5 spots do you find most intriguing because of the team and the player?
I find all these really intriguing. Let's talk about the Wizards, though, here for a second, because I think they're a team that could be potentially interested in moving up for Sarr. To me, there's not really... I think Topic would have been a great fit here, but since he's not going to play, I feel like that kind of knocks him out of that range. But they really need to go star hunting, right? And I think for me, Holland represents that next closest bet for somebody who could potentially become a star to a wing. He's an incredible defensive player. He's an incredible athlete. And for the first time last year with the G League Ignite, he was kind of asked to do a little bit more with the ball in his hands. And it wasn't always pretty, but we got to see a little bit of it. But just his profile of being like a long, athletic, big wing who's a great defensive player, really struggled shooting the ball, and still has to like show a little bit more in terms of flashes on the ball, creating off the dribble and facilitating. But I think he probably has the most star equity of any of these guys. I also really like Stefan Kaselu, who we can get to in a second here. But for me, Ron Holland, I just felt like for the Wizards, they are just starting at absolutely square one. They've got some nice pieces. I really like Bilal Coulibaly, but they don't have like a star young player. And I think he could be that. But even if he's not, then I still think he kind of has a good floor as being a rotation wing who's an elite defensive player.
Let me ask you something. Out of the top 10 that you have right here, do you think the Zards are the only team that truly have to go star hunting?
No, I think all these teams should be. I mean, that's my approach in the draft. And I know a lot of teams want to play it safe and get role players. And if you have established stars in like 1A, 1B, or 1 and 2,
Memphis,
maybe,
Utah, those kind of
yeah, exactly. Then maybe you don't have to. Even the Pistons, like you've got your guy in Kata Cunningham, you've got your secondary guy. But to me, like they're still so far away. So I could see the Pistons kind of taking more of a Risache if he's there. Or even a Dalton Connect, I think would be a reach, but like that's the kind of player I would expect a team like that to take. But for some of these teams that are kind of like at the bottom rebuilding, even the Spurs, I mean, they've obviously got Wembanyama. They've got some really nice role players. Devin Vassell, I really like. Jeremy Sohan, I really like. You've got Keldon Johnson, who I think may or may not be part of their future, but like there's no real like you give this guy the ball every time down and you let him create. So I think they should be in the market for one of those guys, and I have somebody like that falling to them at 8.
You got Castle going to Charlotte at 6, but Castle is somebody who has been as high on as number 2 on your big board.
Yeah.
Would you consider it a home run for Charlotte if Stefan Castle falls to them at 6?
I definitely would, and I think he could go as high as 2. I have him slightly above Holland because I think, one, they're very similar players, but I think we've seen Castle succeed in more of a role situation, where at UConn, he was a cutter. He was a defensive player. He was not really like dominating the ball. They played a lot through him, but they also played a lot through Klingon. They had just like elite players up and down the lineup. So it wasn't like the Stefan Castle show. But it sounds kind of like he wants to be the guy. He wants to be a point guard. When I talked to him at the Combine, he said that he's been trying to be a point guard his whole life. And there are rumors about him potentially not wanting to go work out for teams that already have point guards. So I could see him sliding a little bit just because, a lot of these teams do have point guards. But I think he's got a really high floor as a defensive player, as an athlete, as somebody who's a smart player who can facilitate. I think he's going to be a really good player. I think he's very close to Ron Holland in terms of he has that star upside, but I also think his floor is really high of just being a high-level role player who's a really good defender. But the jump shot there is going to hold him back until he can sort that out. So I love that fit in between LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. I think that would really set the Hornets up for success.
That is a nice 3 right there. Outside of Sarr, do you think that Reed Sheppard, and this is just because of the other mock drafts I've seen, do you think Reed Sheppard is the surest thing to go at number 3? Like, I've never seen him anywhere else on any mock draft but like 3. Like, do you feel he's the surest thing? Like him and Sarr, like they're going to go in those numbers.
I'm staying away from saying anything is a sure thing in this draft. I love Reed Sheppard. I love how much you love Reed Sheppard. He's an incredible basketball player, just an absolute hooper. Defends, plays off the ball, incredible shooter, shot 52% from 3 in college.
Is roughly Joey's height.
High level shot making, elite steals and blocks, roughly Joey's height. So I think he's gonna be a really good role player. And I think he fits really well in between like all the wings that the Rockets have. So I think it makes a lot of sense. They need shooting. They need somebody who can take over for Fred VanVleet.
Yes.
You've got Amen Thompson who can be that jumbo creator. You've got Jalen Green who can create. I think he makes a lot of sense there, but I could see him falling a little bit further just because I think teams are going to have some reservations about his size and his ability to score off the bounce. Like he's 6'2", I think, 6'3". He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, but can he create good offense off the bounce? Getting downhill on screens, breaking guys down off the dribble. He did not do a lot of that because he played next to Rob Dillingham, who was incredible at that. And so I could see him sliding just a little bit on draft night for that reason.
All right, let's take our second break right there. We will come back and continue diving in, look at the back half of this top 10, and then there the Bulls are at 11, reviewing GOAT mock draft for the draft that is just less than 2 weeks away. It's a beautiful thing. We actually have a first-round pick to talk about this year, guys.
How exciting is that?
Whee!
Yes.
If you didn't hit the like button the first time around, now is your chance.
Yeah.
Big Dave.
Main man.
Main man.
Ray Chevy, who will be on this show. Y'all, I'm telling you, Ray is coming in. He's going to be on here. Get ready for it. We'll see about that free car that Will wants. And that I will really wants it. But
We'll see about it.
for your new Chevy, we'll see about it. We'll have a discussion. Make Ray Chevrolet your first draft pick. Visit our partner this June to shop their summer sales event going on when? All month long. Of Matt Peck. At Ray Chevy on Route 12 in Fox Lake and at RayChevrolet.com. As one of the top selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Plus, find the perfect tailgate vehicle because right now, $12,000 off MSRP is what you can get on a new 2024 Chevy Silverado, or lease a new 2024 Chevy Trax for only $179 a month for 24 months, or cruise into June your way and shop over 125 of their vehicles priced under $20,000. That is awesome. And if you heard of Ray Chevrolet, then I guarantee you already know about the Ray Price Promise. They're guaranteed to make your next vehicle more affordable than ever with no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees ever. Oh, that means the incredible prices we're talking about right now, you can expect to see the very same when you shop Ray Chevrolet in-store or online. Shop the summer sales event all month long. Visit Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or RayChevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Let's drive together to Ray Chevrolet.
Woo! You know what one of my favorite things about life is?
Tell me.
Having choices.
It's awesome.
So if you're in the market for a new vehicle and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, Ray Chevrolet, maybe just, think what other choices are out there. Well, let me tell you, because you can also shop at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Choices on choices on choices, y'all. That's what Ray offers. This June, you can shop Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and that's right, Rams at Ray CDJR in Fox Lake. During the Make This the Summer event, you can find that perfect vehicle and score huge savings, too. Yes. For a limited time, you can lease the new 2024 Jeep Wrangler Willys 4xe for only $419 a month. $419. That's a great lease price. Or shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. Big Dave already told you about that wonderful raised price promise, the price you see online, the price you pay when you go to the dealership. Unless, of course, Ray and his team, dedicated as always, find you even more savings when you show up at the dealership. Because they prioritize affordability to their customers, hurry in to Ray CDGR today. Shop one of Chicago's area's largest inventories. Then drive home, beep, beep, with more money in your pocket than you'd expect. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, yeah, you got Ray Chevy. You also have Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, the only teams that we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or that website, raycdjr.com. Serving the community since 1963.
You do have a choice about which Ray dealership you're going to go to. You know who did not have a choice, Matt?
Who?
Macbeth. No choice. Fate versus free will. It's a
the essay is coming.
It's a very interesting. It's a very interesting take on life.
Joey just threw a Macbeth out of left
Threw
field.
the headphones on. Came in hot.
He has rendered us speechless.
Well,
I honestly
because no one was ready.
I knew that Peck would have some appreciation for that.
Why was Macbeth on your mind today?
I don't know, but when you said, everybody has a choice, I said, not everybody. Not Macbeth.
Wow.
I don't believe a word of that, but I love it.
I'm so serious right now.
Oh man,
I'm serious.
I'm proud of you.
And I'm with you, Joe.
I am
Thank
proud
you.
of you, man.
Thank you.
Very proud.
Can we go see some Shakespeare together sometime?
Yeah, I would love to.
Sounds amazing.
I just saw a new movie, by the way, newish, with Sydney Sweeney and
Sydney Sweeney cannot do Shakespeare.
But it's called Anyone But You, but it's like a very loose. It's like a very modern, loose. It's one of those like rom-coms that's basically based off.
So like 10 Things About You is Taming of the Shrew.
Right.
Yes,
right. Yeah.
But this is Much Ado About Nothing.
Yeah.
I believe.
Is that what that's? I saw like a 30-second trailer for that. And I was like, wow, a terrible rom-com with Sydney Sweeney in it.
So it's
admit,
Much Ado About Nothing, and that's why I think you actually might like it.
I would, because did you know this?
You were in Much Ado About Nothing.
I started as Benedict in my senior production in college of Much Ado About Nothing on the main stage show.
Flex.
That's right, baby.
And we are back to the Bulls talk.
And
Here
only
we go.
slight typecasting of a guy who loves to run his mouth and never wants to settle down. I walked
His
into this
greatest
audition.
role
I
ever.
walked into this audition. I was like, I dare you to cast anyone else in this role.
This is mine. Go home.
If I spoke in Elizabethan prose on a regular basis, this character is me.
Yeah. They looked at him. They said, "You're in." They already knew.
That's right.
Never understood.
Never understood.
Never.
Wow.
Shout out to my co-star Beatrice. She's happily married with kids somewhere.
Shout out Beatrice.
All right, back to our mock draft. I can't believe Joey brought up Macbeth just now.
Shout out Joey
God, I'm
Spathis.
so proud.
Oh,
Okay, so moving through the back half of the top 10.
I broke Will.
A name that we've talked about with the Bulls, one of the first names we started talking about with our draft talk. You got Cody Williams going to the Blazers at 7. Then you got Dillingham going to the Spurs for their second lottery pick at 8. Donovan Clingan, reportedly somebody the Bulls might be looking to trade up to get, going to the Grizzlies. And then there he is falling all the way to 10 because of the ACL news, Nikola Topic. About the back half of this top 10, what do you find most intriguing, Goat?
I feel like we've talked a bit about Cody Williams. We've talked a bit about Donovan Clingan. We've talked a bit about Topic. So let's talk Rob Dillingham, who I put at 8 to the Spurs with their second pick in the top 10. With their first pick, I had them taking Risachet. I think he could be a draft day slide. I think he is projected to be a top 2 pick right now, but I would not be surprised if he's closer to 10 when everything is said and done.
Okay.
But understanding that that's the case, you've got now another wing to add to your infrastructure. You've got good defense. You've got obviously the best rim protector for the next 15 years in the NBA. But you really need a shot creating point guard. And Rob Dillingham, I think, fits so well there. He's an incredible scorer, just electric. Off the bounce, he can step back and shoot threes. He can get to the rim. He's a great facilitator. Super small. I think he measured like 164 pounds, so super slight. But you've got Wembanyama there to protect and clear up some of the mess. So I really like that fit, and I feel like they have, with all the Hawks picks and the Bulls pick, some opportunity to take a little bit of a risk here on a guy who obviously is really tiny but has a ton of upside as a shot creator and an offensive initiator, which is really what they need to be taking swings on. So you get your safer pick at 4. Now you have a chance to take a swing on somebody who could end up being, the best player in this draft if ever everything hits for him, because he's just really special with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, and your point guard of the future, because obviously they're starving for a point guard with Wemby. But I'm curious about Risachet, and you talked about, you can take a swing on someone, and out of everybody in the top 10, obviously they have the easiest way to take a swing because they have 2 picks. But Risachet next to Wemby, like what is the kind of fit you see there, and why they would take them at 4?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think is like the perfect infrastructure for a shot creating guard and a do-it-all center like that? You want to have 3 and D wings around him, and that's exactly what Risachet is. He's about 6'10". He can really move his feet and defend. He can slide up and down multiple positions. He's a little bit slight. I think he's got a frame that you can put on some muscle. So I think teams are kind of forecasting him to be like a 2 through 4 defender, stopper, and a high-level 3-point shooter. He was shooting, I think, around 50% for an extended period of time with his team in France, and then kind of fell off towards the end of that season, and that's kind of slid him down draft boards just a little bit. But like I said, I mean, projected top 2 pick right now. I think, as I've said before, like you really, when you're drafting in the top, first overall, top 5, like you're looking for guys that can be shot creators, and he is not that. He is a 3-and-D catch and shoot wing, and that's a super valuable archetype, especially in a draft where you don't feel super secure in any of your top picks. You may as well hit a single or hit a double instead of trying to strike out swinging for the fences or ground into a double play. So I think he makes a lot of sense there when you have the ability to also take that swing, and that's why I put those two together. But I think he could just be a really good 2, 3, 4 wing who can shoot. People have kind of compared him to Michael Porter Jr. I think that's kind of the style of player. I think MPJ is really a little bit more dynamic with the ball in his hands, but 6'10" guy who can shoot and defend, like every team wants that.
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this is the part that I'm interested here, the 8, 9, 10, 11 range. And I know that, I mean, we're not saying anything new here, that there's not a ton of conviction with a lot of these guys, and we're sort of all over the place, can see a lot of different outcomes with these guys. But we've talked a lot about Klingon. We've also talked a lot about Topic and how those two guys, might have slightly higher, I think in Klingon's case, a higher floor, Topic's case, a higher ceiling. Mm-hmm. For me, like, if those guys go all the way to 9 and 10 and go at 9 and 10 before the Bulls pick at 11, would that be incredibly frustrating to anybody else? Like, would ending up with Devin Carter and having those two guys come off at 9 and 10 feel that's like, I can already see if we're on draft night and those guys are sliding down the board, I think that is a much more exciting and like sexy pick than that's just like,
I would hear like you didn't quite get their game show sound effect in my head if that is how it
right. And Devin Carter could end up being a lot better, of course, but I'm just that's sort of the feeling that I have right now. And Goat, as being the expert of the draft here, what do you think on that?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I'm looking at upside. I always have been, and I always will be looking for that in the draft, especially when you're a team that just doesn't have a lot of long-term star potential. So to see Topic, who's a guy I would probably take in the top 3, slide all the way to 10 and not be able to get him.
Exactly.
For sure. But I also think, like, from the Bulls' perspective, are you really about to draft a guy who can't play this year? So I would be surprised if the Bulls did end up with him, because I think it would show an amount of foresight that they have not displayed in the past, quite frankly. But I also think like Tijan Salon, Dalton Connect, maybe even Zach Edey could be guys that go in the top 10, and that pushes some of these other guys down. I would not be surprised by any of those guys or all of them being in the top 10, and maybe a Cody Williams or a Topic falling all the way to 11. I think that's like almost likely in this draft. This is just how my board worked out, but I think this draft is going to be pretty wild. I think there's going to be teams trading up. I think there's going to be teams trading down. I think there's going to be teams trading out. And I think that could result in just a lot of action with some of these guys. But I'm with you. Like, I think it won't be super disappointing to me if the Bulls take a role player or a guy who projects to be a role player with this 11th overall pick, especially if some of those higher level upside swings are gone. Just because I'm not super convicted with any of these guys as being like my guy.
I think what's crazy partially about this draft too, like I'm looking at your list, there's 10, 11 guys that if the Bulls take, I'd be like, yeah, I could see them doing that. And they're at the 11th pick. I mean, almost, we talked about Connect at the beginning of this process. No chance he's going to be there at 11. Right. Now he's at 14. And we talked about Klingon's going to be, could he be the number 1 pick? He could be 9. And so there's just, I can't remember, honestly, in any sport, just this wide range of outcomes, and I think there's going to be a lot, like you just said. I think there's going to be a lot of shock on draft night in terms of how it actually plays out.
I think there's going to be a lot of shock with how it plays out, and I think there's going to be not apathy necessarily, but I think to what you were describing, like the sense of I'm okay with any of these guys because none of them are like my guys. So I think some guys could fall. What I don't want to see, as we will talk about, is like adding future picks to go up and move up to get a guy. I think that probably doesn't make as much sense because Donovan Klingon could go 2. He could slide all the way to 11. Risache could go 2. He could slide all the way to 11. And same thing with promises. Like I just wouldn't really want to commit to anything right now because I feel like there's so much potential for things to change on draft night with so little in the way of like teams being like locked in and excited about guys.
I know you don't want to make trades. I know this. Here's my question. If that plays out, would you be okay with the Bulls? I'm just talking pick for pick swap. trading at 11 to get to 10 or to get to 9 to get a Klingon or a Toppage? Or do you still feel like
what does it cost
just stay there? I'm just saying a pick for pick, like trading at 11 for a 9 or 11 for 10. That's it. That's all you're trading.
Well, I feel like you need to add something.
Or swapping,
and
however you want to say it.
To me, I would probably say, like, the most I would feel comfortable moving up is that Portland pick, which could be a first-round pick. It may be a first-round pick, but if it is a first-round pick, it's going to be no higher than 15.
Right.
So I'd feel comfortable moving up one spot and giving up that kind of fake first. Could be a first, but if the right guy was there. But again, I'm thinking about this in terms of like, okay, I'm going to let DeMar Walker sign and trade him. I'm going to, move Zach for assets. I'm going to move Caruso, and now I can take some upside swings. For the Bulls, I think they're going to play it similarly to how they have been playing it, which is we're going to keep DeMar, we're going to keep Vooch, we're going to keep Caruso. Let's get guys to complement them and help lift up this core that, was, one game away from making the 8th seed.
And Broken Peck has tapped into the podcast.
Okay, so
Here we go.
Bulls at 11. You have the Bulls selecting Devin Carter with the 11th pick, Goat. We've heard various rumors and reports even that the Bulls could be looking to move up. Or if they stay at 11, also different reports that they've made a draft promise to somebody. Some people think that somebody is Devin Carter. In a lot of ways, he checks just classic Bulls draft pick boxes. So Sar, Holland, Shepard, Reza Shea, Buzelas, Castle, Williams, Dillingham, Klingon, Topic are your top 10. Carter at 11. Some of the names still available that you have the Bulls passing on: Saloon, Connect, Tyler Smith, who we talked about on Tuesday, Isaiah Collier, one of the earliest names tied to the Bulls. Zach Edey's down there at 17. Khalil Ware, who we talk about in our Die Hard mailbag, is there at 19. Kyle Filipowski at 22. Deron Holmes, 21. Yev Missy, 24, going to New York. What is it about Devin Carter, man, that you have him there at 11 instead of some of those other names that some Bulls fans like more?
Yeah, again, I would say this is a predictive thing. This is what I expect the Bulls will do. And there's been smoke about the Bulls promising him, so I'm just kind of sticking with that because I think it also makes sense. Like, it's not just a rumor taken out of context. I think they've been looking for this Lonzo replacement who can get the ball up in transition, who can be the extra pass, like connective glue guy passer, who can shoot threes, who can defend, who can get up in the point of attack. And he's done all that at a high level. In his junior year at Providence, he was really productive. And I think he just like comes in and you know what you're going to get from him. You're going to get a defender who can rebound it really well from the guard position, who can play off of Kobe, off of DeMar, next to other guys. Like, I just think he is like the perfect role guard. And I'm not saying he cannot be a higher level player. Like, I think he obviously showed some creation this year at Providence, but I don't expect that to be his role at the next level. But I think you have some room to grow into that. So, the Bulls have taken Patrick Williams. This front office has taken Patrick Williams. They've taken Io, Marko Simonovic, Dalen Terry, and Julian Phillips. Like, there's some things that all those guys have in common. And I think like this kind of bigger guard who can dribble, pass, shoot, defend, like that's kind of the scheme of what they're going for. And I think he checks all those boxes. Now, I would not be surprised if the Grizzlies take Devin Carter at 9 and the Bulls don't have the ability to get him there. But I think if the Bulls do take him, like that'd be one of those guys that I just felt fine with because I think he's going to be a good player. I don't see him as being like a star player. And to me, the Bulls are kind of treating themselves like they're a 5th seed or like they're a second round playoff team. They're getting role guys like Torrey Craig and Javon Carter. They're drafting guys like Julian Phillips and Devin Carter who are lower ceiling, like immediate impact role guys. And I think that just fits the bill with who they think they are. Now, as we've talked about a million times, I disagree with that. I think they need to look in the mirror and reevaluate those things. And so Devin Carter's maybe not my first choice, but I think he'd be a fine choice and somebody that I do think would help the Bulls day one, which is ultimately, I think, what they're still after.
Matt, let me ask you, what doesn't excite you about Devin Carter? Or is it just nobody really in the draft just really excites you?
I think it's more that. I think honestly, Nikola Topic really excites me. Okay. And now I'm like, well, cool. He's falling because he's got an ACL. And like you said, he, probably going to just redshirt his rookie year. The Bulls, where they, in their delusions, think they are as a team, probably aren't looking to draft a guy who's going to have to be rehabbing an ACL his rookie year. I don't dislike Devin Carter. It would just be a very blah result for a pretty frustrating year where you end up with the 11th pick. And I kind of...
This is the prize.
This is the prize for this bullshit season we all just endured together. Another play-in tournament exit. And it's not just Topic. Like, I like a lot of these guys that Goat has in his top 8. I like Castle. I like, obviously, Sar. There are parts of Matas that I like. I like Riza Shea. Klingon, even. It's just going to feel like such a flat letdown.
Okay.
I would say, like, there's 9 guys in this draft I would be excited about. It's the guys in my top 10 on this mock, minus Cody Williams. That makes 9. And I think any of those guys I'd be, like, pretty pumped about the Bulls getting because I don't know. I just think, like, those are the high-level role players, if not the upside plays. But I think whoever the Bulls pick with this selection, number 11 overall, is going to tell you a lot about who they think they are and what direction they are going to go this offseason. And I think just kind of evaluating, I think what you're trying to say, Matt, is that like a Devin Carter selection tells me that they're onto more of the same, right? They are trying to be this.
Here's a 4-year college player who's 22 and a half years old who's going to come in and find somewhere in Billy's rotation to help us get back to 42 and 39.
Even like Tijan
42
Salon,
and 40. Math is hard.
That's a huge upside swing. That would be exciting. Isaiah Collier would be a huge upside swing. That like I'm not super high on those guys to where I feel like they're going to be star players, but I think it represents the Bulls understanding we need to try to find a star somehow.
Right.
And like let's go do that.
Right. Yeah. Whereas I think Devin Carter can be a fine player in the NBA. And I say fine in a complimentary way, not a derogatory way. It's just sort of like this team is in dire straits. And whereas usually as just an NBA fan and Bulls fan in general, I always tend to lean towards, hey, take that talent that you know is a talent, as opposed to maybe risking with these projects that have this wonderful upside. Where the team is now and where they should go, I would be more willing to be excited about a guy who maybe you're a little worried about the floor, but the ceiling is pretty freaking interesting. Yeah. And I feel like Devin Carter is just such a like split level house.
Yeah.
You know, the floor, the ceiling is the roof.
Yeah, I understand. You're saying basically he's safe.
Yeah.
He's because when I think like Avery Bradley, you know, like Avery Bradley is safe. You know what you're going to get. It's good. It's solid. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You know what I mean? But I think that's why I like Montes so much is, you know, it's more exciting. You know what I'm saying? For that. And the ceiling of what he could be and the potential of what he could be excites you. Again, being at the age of 19 and seeing those things, because I think that's everybody in this draft to have that. But Devin Carter, just being the age he is and seeing who he is, we already kind of know. You have an idea about who he is, and you don't really see that growth. And that's not a bad thing, but it's just you know the player of what you're getting. Yeah. Tell me I'm speaking for you.
No. That's exactly how that is exactly what I was articulating. It's like, it would just be another blah result, another blah addition to this Bulls team that has been blah for a decade now.
It's been up there.
The other thing is, I think, like, as we've talked about before, the Bulls are obviously going to be trying very, very hard to trade Zach LaVine. But it's going to be very difficult to do that because, like, if the Cavs do end up interested in him, it's going to be because they've already traded Donovan Mitchell.
Correct.
The Magic are going to go after Paul George first, and if they can't do that in free agency, then they'll maybe look to Zach. But the problem is free agency starts after the draft. And so if you're going to move Zach to a team that's first going to try to look for Paul George, that just it can't happen until after the draft and after free agency has already started. So what does that mean for the draft? It means you have to draft independent of what you think is going to happen with Zach LaVine, what you think is going to happen long-term with this team, and focus on the guys that can help you and that you know will be on your roster. And to me, like, a Topic is an upside play that I would feel really excited about. Dillingham, I'm not like a huge Dillingham fan, but like, again, he represents this idea that like we understand we need shot creation, so let's go out and find it, even if it's not like the perfect solution. Whereas a Devin Carter is like, well, we still need that 3-and-D guard to put next to DeMar and Zach, and then everything will get back to that way that it was in 2021. And it's like, you guys, the ship has sailed. And even if you did think that that was going to happen, like you can't bring back all those same guys. It's like you're not going to be a $25 million luxury tax team. So you got to figure out another solution. And that is, I think, starting from the ground floor and trying to find upside swings that can potentially be that guy for you down the line.
Let me ask you one more trade question. If you're trading Zach LaVine, would you rather take a top 10 pick in this draft or a mid-20s pick in next year's draft?
Like straight up?
Like if that comes with the deal, however deal is packaged or put together.
If the Bulls get a top 10 pick, a top 10 pick in this one, in this draft, I would accept that so fast and hope that they didn't say no trade backs, because I just don't think like the Bulls are going to get a top 20 pick in this draft, let alone a top 20 pick in next year's draft. And I think what that allows you to do is start to make some other decisions. They have been up against the luxury tax for 3 years. They can't do anything except for like bring back their guys, sign, mid-level, like half of the mid-level and minimum contracts. Like getting off of Zach represents opportunity in the form of like eventually having a different roster. Whereas what they've done so far is just repeatedly go to the same roster that doesn't work because they have no other options. They have no ability to find new options. So getting off that money is valuable. And I do think that like a salary dump would be fine in that way. It'd be obviously disappointing, and it would be like a bad look for the organization, for casual fans who just see the Bulls just traded Zach LaVine for literally nothing. Yeah. Like if they just traded Zach LaVine into Detroit's cap space, casual fans would be like, what are we doing here? So I don't think they're going to do that. I think they want to try to get some asset. I'm not sure they're going to, but at the end of the day, like that money does represent opportunity. So even though it's not an immediate thing that you get in return, it is something. And to get a pick on top of that in the top 10 where you could get one of these guys, I would feel great about that.
Okay.
We are sadly out of time, but we made it there to 11 at least. Everybody check out the GOAT's mock draft, available now, allchgo.com. He's got thoughts on all these players and including lots of what comes after the Bulls at 11. Also, CHGO diehards, those of you who are already signed up because you're part of the Cool Kids Club, you can find that GOAT draft database also on allchgo.com right now. If you aren't a diehard, sign up. There's your newest and bestest reason to do so. Don't wait. Now's the time. We have, as I mentioned, a Die Hard mailbag episode dropping for y'all tomorrow afternoon. It's going to release 4 p.m. Central Friday on the YouTubes. Might have it drop in the pod feeds a little bit earlier than that, but that will be your 5th and final episode for the week. So everybody have a wonderful weekend. Go out and hang out in the bleachers with our CHGO Cubs crew tomorrow. Friday 120 Club is back in effect. And, of course, as always, you can find Will the Goat on Twitter. Will_Gottlieb. Big Day Bow. BAWL Sports. Joey, our pal producer, is at Joey Spathis. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. Go RSVP to our draft party. Live draft show happening June 26th. Yes. Our wonderful hosts will be PB&J, the awesome pizza joint pizza bar in West Loop. Can't wait to see you there. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy that Die Hard mailbag episode dropping tomorrow. See you, Rep. Be good. Sunny side!